Right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Let the record reflect that all board members present and accounted for. Board chairs comments. So this is the start of a new era for Royalton. We have our new superintendent in place, Christine Weirkamp. So let's give her a welcome here to start off. And that's about all I have. So moving on to approval of agenda.
A motion.
Second. Been moved by Director Bauman and seconded by Director Hofstad to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstain? Motion passes 6-0-0. Appreciation, recognition, and presentations. Dr. Privada?
Yes, I have a recognition, and I've talked to the board for a while about our summer school program, so we're building up to that in the spring, and we're now in our third week of summer school, and it's gone better than we even hoped. There's been very few problems with it, and it's been a team approach, and I'm here to recognize Ted, who's been our coordinator for the summer school, and by team approach, I mean, he'll also, I hope, mention some of the great staff that we've had working. But there's a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, a lot of details to make everything go smoothly, communication with the students, parents, staff. And Ted's done an excellent job with that. I think it's gone well. We thought there might be a few glitches, but students have been really good, parents have been good, attendance has been good, so I'm not gonna create anything that isn't there. I mean, it's just been good. So, and when we started out talking about this, we were hoping that if it went well, it might be a model for next year and the year after, depending on the board and budgets and so forth. But that's what we wanted to do, is show that it could work effectively, pretty efficient financially, and show that there's benefit to it. So with that, I want to recognize and thank Ted for his work with coordinating the summer school this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you'd like me to say a few words about
Yes.
it. Yeah, so, so, we put this together and we were crossing our fingers, we'd get registrations and all that stuff way back in early March. And, we got 60 kids registered up through the end of the school year. We've had 57 of those 60 attend from day one. We had 3 kids that kind of, things came up and they didn't attend, haven't attended at all. But of those 57, our average attendance has been about 52. So it's really like in the 90% range, which has been just great, just absolutely fantastic. A few kids here, vacations and stuff, but overall attendance has been really good. We have 4 sections. We have Alyssa Brown, our new first grade teacher, is teaching the incoming first graders. Kathy Brenny is teaching the incoming second graders. We have Megan Doozy is our one of our special ed teachers. She's teaching the 3rd and 4th grade combo class. And then Hannah Call is teaching the 4th and 5th grade, which will now be the 6th grade combo class. And they've all had really good things to say. I've been having a really good time with the kids. The day goes quick, and they get to kind of have some more independent and more kind of together instruction. It's been kind of a breath of fresh air with some of the new COVID restrictions over the summer, with just being able to be in the classroom and no masks. And so they've really enjoyed being with the kids and doing that stuff. And that's been really good. We've had Nurse Robin as well has been in, so we've been covered in that way. And I mean, overall, it's been really good. With the help of both Phil and Don, we were able to provide breakfast and a snack every day, which I think has been really important. And that's gone over really well with the kids. We haven't had any big complaints about, kids being hungry or anything for the couple hours that they're there. And then on top of that, I put together a summer school connection class through community ed, where we have 11 kids who stay from 11:30 when summer school's over until 12:30 and do some different things. We had Kathy Tortson came over and did art with him for a week. And that was really wonderful. They had a lot of fun doing fluid art and some things with her. And then Hannah Call has been staying after and doing some outdoor and indoor combination activities with them, some kickball and t-ball. I know they're playing basketball today. So in the back behind the school and then both in the gym. So overall, it's gone very, very well. And like Dr. Gladys said, we hope that it's, a template for something we can use in the future, because we've obviously, got the interest and it's gone very well.
Yeah, and we also have one pair of Susan Miles is
Yes,
helping
yes, we
out
do.
because
Yep.
we had a larger class. So
Yep.
provide some help with that class. We run it in coordination as far as the time period with special ed preschool, so that's also going on. And they're able to share the same transportation.
Yep.
So that's made it efficient.
Yep, and it's given Galen a chance, I know, to work out some transportation things and work on the Ride 360 app and stuff. We use that over the summer, and overall, I think, it's been very positive.
And the building's kind of cooler in the mornings.
Yes.
All day.
Yes, it
It
is.
is starting to heat up. But we're making it okay.
Okay,
Now, we're happy to answer any questions now
Yeah.
or later, but just mostly to recognize Ted and his work.
all right. Are there any other appreciation recognitions or presentations? All right, moving on. Recognition of citizens for input purposes. Does anybody in the public have something that they want to say?
Hello,
Joel?
my name is Greg Kelsey. I'm here to speak to you guys and thank you for your serving on the board for this community and for us as parents. You do have an extremely important job in all this uncertainty that we are going through day by day on a number of fronts, as you've probably been aware of. So what I want to talk about today is just quickly the board briefing that was written and submitted dated May 21st regarding critical race theory. I think it was developed based on a response from emails from the community. I'm not entirely sure of the context of where it came from, but I just wanted to, reading through it, I was a little bit concerned with how it was being portrayed. So I've been aware of critical race theory for about a year. I don't know how it got to my attention, but it did. I'm not an academics or anything like that, but it came across some of my emails or feeds or something. And then I started reading into it, researching it, and really kind of getting concerned over what it was and how it could impact my kids. And I never thought I'd ever be in front of a board talking about something like this. But so within that board briefing, there was a lot of questions about what the definition of it was and how to describe it, which is, it's not easy to describe, or it's not easy to define. So based on what I've been reading and my research, minimal research over the last year or so, is that we need to understand how to define critical race theory, and we need to understand how we recognize it. So according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, critical race theory is a quote, intellectual movement and a loosely organized framework, end quote. Further on, it states that critical race theory was officially recognized in 1989 at an annual workshop on critical race theory by Harvard Law professor Derek Bell and other colleagues. This board briefing stated that critical race theory has been around for about 50 years, which is true. It started in about 1960s, 1970s, somewhere around the civil rights movement is where somewhere in there. I'm not entirely sure the timing of that, but Its immediate precursor was critical legal studies movement, which was it dedicated itself to examining how the law and legal institutions serve the interests of the wealthy and powerful at the expense of the poor and the marginalized. So it's got the framework of the wealthy and the powerful, which are the oppressors, and the poor and marginalized, which are the oppressed, which brings you down into with other critical race theory, the framework of legal analysis is based on the premise that race is not a natural, biologically grounded feature of physically distinct subgroups. So it's not a biological feature of people. It's something that's created. So race is a socially constructed, culturally invented category that is used to oppress and exploit people of color, which is non-whites. Notice here that white people cannot be oppressed in the exploited in critical race theory. Critical race theorists hold that the law and legal institutions, which is the system in the US, is inherently racist insofar as they function to create and maintain social and economic and political inequalities between whites and non-whites, especially African Americans, thus creating social classes of people based on a socially constructed race. So in the 19th century, you're probably familiar with the German philosopher Karl Marx. He is known for conflict theory, which essentially broke down society into two categories, which is oppressed and oppressors. According to the UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs, critical race theory recognizes that racism is ingrained in the fabric and system of the American society. The individual racist need not to exist. To note that the institutional racism is pervasive in the dominant culture. This is the analytical lens that critical race theory uses in examining existing power structures. So critical race theory identifies that power structures are based on white privilege and white supremacy, which perpetuate the marginalization of people of color. Critical race theory also rejects the traditions of liberalism and meritocracy. Legal discourse says that the law is neutral and colorblind. However, critical race theory challenges this legal truth by examining liberalism and meritocracy as a vehicle for self-interest, power, and privilege. So a few definitions within that statement from the UCLA Luskin School of Public Affairs is white supremacy is any belief, behavior, or system that supports, promotes, or enhances white privilege. And then white privilege is a series of unearned advantages that accrue to white people by virtue of their whiteness. Whiteness is a set of normative privileges granted to white-skinned individuals and groups, which is invisible to those who are privileged by it. So critical race theory says that white people can't see that they are the oppressor. Critical race theory is a movement in which race is a socially constructed category used to oppress people of color. The oppression, its racism, is achieved through a system which is racist. The system is or was created by white people as the dominant social class, ultimately viewing America as two classes, whites, which are the oppressors, and non-whites as the oppressed.
Can I interrupt you, Greg?
Sure.
So you said you were worried about a board briefing that was posted.
Yes.
So can we get to what you were worried about?
Well, I'm worried about the definition of critical race theory within the board briefing.
Okay.
When I read it, it was so hard to pick up on what was actually being described. If that
Well,
makes sense. And I
Yeah, it
didn't-
makes
I
sense
didn't-
because what you're reading to me is hard to pick up too. You know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I get it. So, but I think what we got here is, you remember when the internet broke, when they had that picture of the dress? And half the people said it was blue and half the people said it was white.
Yeah.
Somebody who's seen it as white will never see it as blue, and somebody who sees it as blue will never see it as white.
Mhm.
So, I appreciate your forwarding us the information. But that's really new to me. All of this is new to me.
Yes,
And I don't know anybody else on the board, but I mean, I got phone calls a month ago asking me about CRT. And I was like, I don't even know what I thought it was. Oh, yeah, no, they asked me about critical race theory and I'm like for the Daytona 500, because I have no idea. So, and they're like, no, not that kind of race. And I didn't, I honestly didn't have any idea what, you know, I thought, well, that was like drafting or something else. It was totally out of context when I got asked. So it's new to everybody.
Yeah.
So
So-
are we implementing it or?
no, so here's
No.
what I wanna say, is what my point in being here and doing this was to put a seed in your guys' mind to understand how this can easily get put into a school system. Because there's, as you probably know, there's a lot of schools across the nation which are dealing with this right now, whether voluntary or involuntarily. It's important that you guys understand it, because you guys are the ultimate authority at the school. And you guys have the ability to put it into practice or not put it into practice. So I think it behooves you to understand what it is. And that was kind of my point, is to drop the seed and say, okay, there's a lot going on here, and it's not easy to understand. You're not gonna understand it in a 10-minute talk.
No, and it's not all,
Yeah.
in your defense, it's not all gonna come with that label on it either.
No, does not.
And I get it. So,
Yep.
I hear you and the board hears you. Does anybody else want to hear more on this or want to just move on?
I would, if you could email me.
So my goal was to clean this up, because I made some notes, and then just email you the whole thing that I wrote.
I'll give you 3 more minutes.
I will say one more thing, is that towards the end of this document, it kind of outlines how it is a worldview, and it's a lens through what the world is viewed as. So it's in my worldview, a lot of different things have definitions like good, bad, justice, accountability, all of those types of things have a definition. In critical race theory, it's the same thing. It's gonna be mostly opposite of mine, but that's kind of the context of what we need to understand, is that it's a worldview that's everything's viewed in a certain way. Justice is one way, accountability of each individual is another thing that's going to be defined differently. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I would guess you will probably email the whole board. Am I right, Greg?
I will.
Or you can email the superintendent and she could disseminate it to us too, if you didn't want to do 6 emails or whatever.
Either way, I don't mind.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else? All right, we're gonna move on then. Going to reports and news. Committee reports. Any committees meet?
No, finance is set for the first weekend in August.
Policy is met or set for the second week.
And Midstate did not meet this month, but they did meet in June, which I neglected to mention. But they just had the normal people resigning and then filling those positions. Wasn't any earth-shaking thing going on at that time.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
Well, thank you. So I want to say that I'm very excited to be here at Royalton Public Schools, and I'm starting to get an opportunity to meet with some of the community. I've been at the senior center twice, met with our mayor here in Royalton. Have been able to meet with all of our leadership team, all individually as well as in groups, and doing that same thing with school board members. So looking forward to Platte River Days this weekend to see the parade. And I noticed I had a 5K. I will not be running in a 5K, but I might cheer them on. So looking very forward to that come this weekend. Also, I'd just like to remind everyone that Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock in the cafetorium, we will be pulling together the COVID advisory team, and community is absolutely welcome and encouraged to come. And we'll be putting forward some ideas that we have around our safe learning plan for the fall and to gather input from our community and families at that time. So from 6 to 7:30 in the cafetorium, and all are welcome. And I just want to say thank you so much, because I've been made to feel quite welcome here, and I really appreciate that. And look forward to continuing meeting everyone else. And had some teachers stop by too, which is really fun as well to see that. And the summer school has gone off very well. Been over there. Kids are excited to be together, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So thank you.
Thank you. Principal report.
Looking forward to the school year up ahead.
It deals with our students. It's been kind of quiet at the high school level. Besides athletic teams and the county fairs they're going soon, correct? And
This weekend.
so, usually in August, we get a parade of people who have advanced the state, showing chickens or dairy cattle or dairy cows or 4-H. So we have some opportunities to recognize students there. One thing this past weekend, our 14U baseball team, which is made up of all of our incoming most of our ninth grade baseball players and a 8th grader, went down and won we were the state runner-up in the travel baseball state tournament. Really exciting, long weekend, but the kids represented the community very well and did a very nice job. So for a quiet summer at the high school level, we had one event there that highlighted and showcased some of our kids in our community.
Okay. Consent agenda. Someone want to move this? Yep, I will move it. Okay, it's been moved by Director Garrett's. And seconded by Director Bauman. To move the consent agenda as presented. Does anybody want to pull anything off of that?
Randy, can I, it's a question about one of the resignations.
That'd be proper to ask now.
Okay, it's actually for David. So David, I saw that our technology integration specialist has left. I'm assuming we're hiring and back, and maybe it's already done. I don't think it's.
Yeah, it was posted last week.
Okay,
That do it for you?
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye. All opposed? All abstain. Motion passes 6-0-0. Okay, discussion, information, and action items. We have approval of donations by resolution. So.
You can continue talking. I
Okay.
have nothing.
Oh, I thought you had something to add with this one. All right. Okay, so this is something that we're gonna work on one of our work sessions, is a better way to do this. And so we got a donation here for $250 from the American Legion. And I don't know exactly how to do it other than the way we've been doing it. So until we figure out a better way, we're gonna keep on doing it this way. So does somebody want to introduce this?
I will.
Member Lang introduced the following resolution and moved its adoption. Whereas Royalton American Legion has generously offered to donate $250 to the Royalton School District. Whereas the conditions on this gift are for use in community education /14U softball team tournament entry fee. Therefore, be it resolved by the Royalton School Board to gratefully accept the gift. The motion for adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded by member
Hofstad.
and upon a roll call vote being taken thereon, the following voted in favor of. You call it roll.
Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Hofstad, aye. Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
So everyone voted in favor of and no one voted against and no one abstained. The foregoing resolution passes 6-0-0. Approved this 26th day of July, 2021. All right. So now, this, I believe you have something to present, fiscal year 2000. Got the next one? Yes. Okay, I found.
All right, I'm here. I got a few discussion items to go over. I'll go, do you want to go over each separately or rather than do there's only one resolution, so.
Why don't you just do what you do and then we'll come back. Is that all right with everybody?
All right,
Perfect.
so I'm here today. We are mandated by state statute to every year by the end of July, review and revise our long-term facilities maintenance plan, which is a 10-year plan. They designated us a 10-year plan that just rolls out each year, every year. But we have to review it and revise it every year. It's usually 2-3 years that I can project ahead, but after that, it's just kind of projections. So, if you want to have the revenue, I want the revenue up before the expense. Thank you. Hard to see, I apologize. Am I in your way? So what we did is the state comes in and they automatically filter in APUs, which is adjusted pupil units that I have gone in and pre-certified our levy. So last year I certified the levy at 1,020 adjusted pupil units. We are down this year. We ended the year at 1,007.85. So we are down about 24 membership hours. So we will have some negative adjustments on our LTFM this coming year and next year. Forecasting, obviously. So it looks like we're going to probably get, this year we'll get 321,000, but there will be probably a $60,000 negative adjustment on that dollar amount. Once we start getting into the levy process in September, that will come through this year and next year. So fiscal year 2022, I haven't started that levy, but I am going to probably project that I will certify 1,015 adjusted pupil units. I think we're on the ground where we're going to regain our population, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and hopefully good news with all the restrictions, and we will recover within the year or two. So to the fiscal year 2022, I am gonna hopefully certify at 1,015. And hopefully by then at the fiscal 2023, I'm gonna go 1,022, depending on what next year looks like. Keep in mind, we always certify a year in advance, so it's kind of a guessing game on what the last year was like. Nobody predicted what this last year was gonna be, so hence the negative adjustments are out of our control, and the state didn't hold us harmless on any of that revenue. So basically, I projected out the 10 years and they automatically calc the revenue for us based on the age of our building. And the interesting thing about that, and the public doesn't know, we had done some remodeling and the age of our building decreased because they took the average from the old and the new. So 2 years ago, we had a few negative adjustments on our equity, our capital, and our long-term facilities maintenance because the age of our building decreased. So we are back on track with the age of the building. So right now I have it set at 29 years. That automatically calculates in. So this will be by resolution. The board will approve that tonight, and the revenues and the expenses. The expenses are obviously a little more work the first 2 years. What I do is I take our building, our grounds, and our two principals, and we actually do project our 2021 and 2022 expenses for LTFM and our health and safety piece of LTFM. And we put those out there. Then I do a forecasting for 2024, and then I did have our building and grounds director. He went through the grounds, the roof, everything, got projections, and we have some pretty good estimates on what we're gonna be for the next 7 years. So I will have that on a spreadsheet. I did talk to the superintendent, Dr. Rurkamp, and we will have that available for you guys. He still has it on scratch paper, so, but we will have that available.
Is it a napkin? No.
It started out on something less than that. So that's what's happening with the expenses. So the base year was 2021. What they do is they give me that base year, which is this last current year. And what I do is I reconcile that to what our year end will be in long-term facilities maintenance expenses. So then I go to 2022, when we did capital and LTFM in the spring. These expenses, to the best of our knowledge, that Tony knew and the principals knew and the past superintendent they're pretty accurate to what we're gonna expense. And 2023, I could forecast out to 2024 on like the roofs, the lighting, anything outside. So Tony does a really good job at that. So we're really pretty close on a lot of most of our LTFM expenses. So I will submit it to the board. Like I said, anything out past 3-4 years is just an estimate. They just want it out 10 years. So we can just keep having a plan in place. So
Well, time just keeps on marching on.
it does, it
But
does.
I just had one question that just occurred to me, like, so when we did some of the roof repairs, they were supposed to be like a 15-year roof. Do we get 15 years out of it, or does it end up only being 10, or
No,
does it
we
matter
did.
on whether?
On the piece of the roof that got fixed, those 2 pieces that were puddles, or
Yep.
whatever, those were the old parts of the roof, the 1969 tool, I believe.
Okay, we're that old.
So those are 70, I'm not sure, but they were older pieces of the roof. And Tony has had a company come up that actually did those repairs, and they did a 5-year projection. And with minimum maintenance, that roof and the elementary are going to last
Good.
quite a while. And those are the projections I'm gonna send to you, and Tony will. I think at some point he may chat about that.
I just wondered if you just went 15 years, or like, this summer's heat's been intense. I can't imagine it's not hard on
Yeah.
everybody's roofs, so.
And the load bearing in the winter, that's been, we've had some pretty load bearing years also on that older roof, but I think they've done a really good job. And maintenance does that, when you
Yeah.
maintain something,
Yep.
hopefully it stays up. So this is what this is gonna look like. I'm not gonna go into the nuts and bolts of, what we're projecting unless you want me to. It could get quite long. I know 2022, do you guys have it in your packet? Looks like we're gonna spend about $98,406 total. That's with our health and safety part of it and our long-term facilities deferred maintenance.
Okay.
Okay,
Any other questions for Don?
I just didn't think I should go for 10 years of that. And I can get you larger copies if you want to review it, and if you have questions later. Yeah, you can talk to Dr. Rurkamp or myself, and we can sit down, so. Or finance committee, it's a good time too.
Okay.
So next thing I'm going to do is, it's that time of year where we had to go out for food service bids, so we had to go out for bread bids, milk bids, and we always go out for fuel bids every year. So this year, as in every other year, we submitted in the newspaper, public bid, but we also do a letter, and we sent out a letter to Pan of Gold, Earth Grains, and Bimbo Bakeries for bread. And for milk, we sent out to Cass Clay and Kemp's. And for fuel bids, we sent out to Lane Oil, Milky Oil, and Central Soda. So of all the our food and fuel bids we sent out, we got Pan of Gold back. And we got Kemp's back, and we got Central Soda back. So the choice was pretty easy, that we were gonna go with those vendors. So those were our choices for food service. The proposals are in your packet. If you want me to review them, I certainly can. They're pretty standard to what they were last year. Milk is always escalating clause on milk bids. Their rate did not go up for the last 2 years, which surprised me. Bread bids did not go up from last year either, so I don't know if that's because of the sign of the times or what. And fuel went up. That's also the sign of the times. So we did, I would like you to approve that, obviously, because we'll probably need that to operate. And last but not least, I want to talk about, every July per statute in food service, we have to do what's called the paid lunch equity calculation. And that tells us, the reason we do this is to ensure that schools are charging an equitable, which means fair and impartial price for the paying student lunch. That's coupled with federal reimbursement to be balanced with the reimbursement given for federal free and reduced meals. So they want us to be equitable with what we're charging, with combination of any students that have free and reduced. So this equitable clause, it obviously reduces barriers, and we need to always have fair and impartial equitability in that. So it's through USDA, so I have to do a pay equity tool calculation every year. And this year, the national average lunch price is $3.18. We currently are charging $2.55. So from doing this calculation, I need to raise prices 5 cents. They're saying up to 10, but we're on the low side of the lower end of not being equitable. So we'd only have to change 5 cents. So what I did is I took my monthly meal prices from last October of 2020. Those are not the free and reduced, those are the paid lunches for that month for all students. I took that revenue and I divided it by how many students there were that purchased meals. And that gave me a price of $2.49. So that gives me my weighted target. So then it automatically calculated 11 cents, telling me I needed to charge $2.59, but we have to round up one to the most even average. So it's $2.60 that I'm gonna ask for approval. The thing I do want to say though, for the community, we do have to increase it. However, all lunches are also free this year because we are qualified through a USDA waiver, again, a federal waiver, for our seamless summer option. So all meals are free, but we still want everybody, put the word out, get the word out. We want everyone to fill out a benefit application for benefits. Everybody that lives in our community, every parent. There's so many programs that are happening through an EBT program. We get compensatory revenue to help with basic skills, summer school, tutoring. So even if you don't think you qualify for a benefit, fill it out anyway. It helps us, you help us help you. So put that word out. So I'm asking the board to please approve that 5 cents, even though it's not going to impact any families this year. We need it to be fair and impartial and close to the national average. Are there any questions?
Go ahead.
2 questions. So the bread, dairy, and fuel, are those are the same as last year? They were all the same. They're the only ones that came back with the bids, right? Okay.
Yeah, and you know what's happening is a lot of the districts in this area, they are going into a consortium like a FSA or a food buying group, and they're so expensive. And they're gobbling up these other companies like Cass Clay may be merging with Kemp's next year. So, we're like being.
So how are you gonna get enough bids?
There's smaller milk vendors, there's smaller creameries we can bid. There was one in Sauk Center. And there are others, so I've reached out to our neighboring districts, but they won't. I wanted to get in a smaller buying group, but they're not accepting any smaller districts right now, or any districts right now. They're at their max, so we're gonna stay the course right now until availability comes along.
Any other questions?
You had one more, didn't you?
I don't remember what it is.
I have another one.
Oh, I do too.
We're raising breakfast prices 5 cents too.
Breakfast is not impacted because of the state. No, breakfast is not. getting
Because I
State,
got lost in the
raise-
worksheet,
no,
so.
because state, what happens is the state of Minnesota, there's a calculation that, no, we will not.
So it's
be
just
raising-
lunch
Just
price.
lunch.
All right,
I had a question. So for the food service, for the lunches, this is just like the standard that we have to charge to make sure we're equitable. It doesn't necessarily link to like who we have.
There are gonna be, I mean, this year it's not gonna impact us because anybody who eats is gonna qualify for free lunch. And we already offer free breakfast. And next year, we may stay in the same rate. That's why we have to stay up on this paid lunch equity, because next year I might be in the same standard depending on the economy of the nation this year. It always goes by the actual fiscal year that this happens. So next year, the economy may, I don't want to say tank, I never want to say that, but it may struggle and we may be able to stay where we're at. The feds may come through and say, you know what, offer free lunches and breakfast forever. I don't see that happening, but it'd be nice, so.
oh yeah, do you have another question?
I remember what it was. So when you say this year, you mean it starting from the fall all to the spring, right?
I
entire
am
year
saying
they've committed
fiscal
to?
year. So this starts, yes, technically in the fall, because that's when our kids come back.
Okay.
Right now, for us, it started in July because we have summer school. So it's July 1st through June 30th.
Okay.
So any lunches served that impact those fiscal months from July 1st through June 30th. That's the fiscal operational year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I got
Good.
one more sheet that you're gonna talk about yet.
Oh,
right?
yes. I just want to update the board and the community last month. We did approve the Minnesota State High School League resolution. However, we only have the second page of it, not the first page, with no signatures or anything. So it is approved. They're gonna sign it tonight and we will get it out tomorrow. So it was just an update for the board and the community that it was approved. It's just gonna get signatures tonight and we'll be able to roll with it. We are good because it's until August. So we're good to go.
And then
Did I miss something?
cross-country fundraiser?
Oh, I will talk about that too.
Okay.
So, Michael Marshall. Oh, you want to talk about it? You are here.
This is just the annual 5K that they operate on Butterfield.
He is actually here. I don't want to rain on his thunder. He has a fundraiser and by GASB 84 in statute, it has to be approved by MAFA rules. It has to be approved by the board before the action.
Okay. Does it have to be approved, just approved or approved by resolution?
No, it's just approved
All right,
by minutes.
all right. Thank you, Don. Any other questions for Don before she walks away? All right. All right, going on to discussion, information and action items. We did approval of the long-term facilities maintenance plan by resolution. Who seconded it? Aaron?
If it's a resolution, you might want to read it. and then
Yeah, I
go from
will.
there.
Well,
Thank
it's
you.
different, so. All right, so this is school board resolution. Adopting the school district's fiscal year 23 long-term facilities maintenance 10-year plan. Whereas to qualify for long-term facilities maintenance revenue, Minnesota statutes subdivision 4 states that a school district must annually adopt and approve a 10-year facilities maintenance. A 10-year facilities plan by July 30th for commissioner approval. Whereas the school district has developed a 10-year long-term facility maintenance plan consistent with this law. School board member Hofstad moved for the resolution adoption and the motion was duly seconded by board member Lang. And upon vote being taken there on the following voted in favor of the motion. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Bauman,
Aye.
Director Garretts,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Hofstad, aye, Director Lang,
Aye.
Director Roaring.
All right. And the following voted against, no one. Therefore, be it resolved that the school board of the Independent School District 485 approves and adopts the attached 10-year-long facilities maintenance plan for fiscal year 23 on the 26th day of July 2021. All right, moving on to the approval of the bread, dairy, and fuel bids. Everybody had a chance to see them? All right, somebody want to move that? Moved by Director Bauman. Director Hackett seconds it. For discussion. So I've only been on the board for 6 years, but 6 years ago, like the milk bid, we got 3 bids back. And it seems like there's less bids every year, so I don't know. I imagine this is gonna turn into something someday, but not this year yet, but I mean, it might get to the point where they don't even want to do it. I don't know. So, any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion, all who abstain? Motion passes 6-0-0. Approval of 21-22 breakfast, lunch, increase elementary and secondary. So you heard Don, we're gonna increase 5 cents. Somebody want to move it?
I will move it.
I'll second.
Moved by Director Garretts and seconded by Director Bauman to approve the 5-cent lunch increase to $2.60. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All abstain. Motion passes 6-0-0. The cross-country fundraiser. So the cross-country fundraiser, it's an annual thing that they've been doing for a few years here, or maybe longer. Or as long as I remember. But now we have to prove it, I guess, so. Somebody want to move it?
A motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Director Bauman and second by Director Garretts to approve the cross-country fundraiser. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All who oppose? All who abstain?
I abstain.
Motion passes 6-0-0. That's great, right? But if it passes, the abstentions go to the pass, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So the Minnesota State High School League resolution update. We already voted on it, so I'm just going to do that by consensus. Everybody's okay with that? Just gotta sign the paper. All right. And HR position discussion.
Yeah, so I want to bring to the attention of the board, I would like to see us hire an HR director for our school district. Right now, that work has been residing with the superintendent and the finance manager. I firmly believe that having an HR director will really help our district give our staff support by having a person who's focused on that, stays up to date with laws, works with other HR directors, seeking out advice and such. It will also help if we go into negotiation, when we go into negotiations, the HR person is going to really focus on the language. I'm used to HRs being lead negotiators. It will allow them to work as a colleague to the finance director, so in partnership, working through how to handle and manage negotiations. I think we'll reap a reward of a better supported administrative office for all of our staff, for leadership staff, as well as handling any kind of investigation. That person can take the lead and work with principals on that, so principals don't necessarily have to be alone or feel that they might make an error. Again, that HR person is going to be professional to know exactly how to handle those situations. And then can also stay abreast to help us with any legal issues that can come around with that. If you have discipline issues, some of those need to get reported to discipline on staff. Oftentimes have to get reported to the MDE. So if that's the case, that person can ensure we do it when we're supposed to or not, and we follow all guidelines. So this position would probably run around 65,000 with benefits. However, we've made some other adjustments. So actually to the budget, it's only going to be around a $45,000 impact to the budget, or around that range, based on some other shifts that have occurred in the budget. We've been adding back to fund balance. So I do believe that in working with our finance director, we went through it. As I said, this needs to be sustainable. I want to do something that's not sustainable, and we feel strongly that we can make this work for us. So I think it'll help the board when you're walking into negotiations. I think it'll help our staff and our leadership team. So I'd like to open it up for comment, discussion, what your thoughts are.
I'll take the lead on this. I think serving on the board when we had an HR person, that job was mainly HR or only HR. I think it's in the better interest of the school district to have an individual that's cut out of that cloth to do that job, and not have somebody that's juggling two jobs to do it. I think it's important enough. It's a chunk of money, but if we get into trouble in this department, it's going to cost us a lot more than that. And I don't think that the legal parts of employment over the next couple of years are going to get any easier. So, anybody else have any discussion here?
Mr. Hackett?
Yes.
I really feel it is an important position. I think our school district is ready for it. I think we've kind of overburdened our business people. We've overburdened a lot of the people in our offices, including the superintendent. And when it comes to negotiations, it would be wonderful to have someone who is up and running on policy and also on contracts, because that's almost, a given right away. But I think it would really be helpful in many ways. I think we get our money back for the investment. I really.
Russ?
I was to say, the one thing that I didn't realize either is I think with the HR position, they also look at employee benefits, correct?
Yes. they'll have
So
the
I
benefits
think
part.
that takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
They'll also be the Title IX coordinator as well. Just so you know, the Title IX has gotten to be a bit more complex now so for example, if there's a student issue and you have to do an investigation, we have to have 3 levels of authority. So you have to have an investigator, you have to have a decision maker, but then you have to have a person who they can appeal to and in your district. So that's 3 layers of people. So I just want to make sure that HR person then takes on that Title IX and ensure we're in compliance. We don't want to make missteps on any kind of Title IX issue either. So that, and they will also do our STARS reporting, which handles all of our staff reporting. So they're handle the hourly time cards with Veritime. They're going to back up payroll. So they will have at least back that up in case that person's gone and needs some additional help, but it won't be their main focus. So I think at this point we will have enough responsibilities for them.
Anybody else want to speak to this?
I agree. There's been quite a few staff that have talked about wanting that HR position and needing that specific expert for some of the things that they do. So I think it would be a great benefit to our staff as well.
Anybody Anybody else have anything to add?
Well, I don't know if this is something the board needs to vote on. I just need to know that we have the support to go ahead and post the position.
I
Unless you
would
don't-
support it.
Yep.
And I'll give you consensus. I think consensus of the board is that it's been in a discussion in the background for a little while. It's just, so it's hard, right? I mean, small schools, everybody has to wear 3 or 4 hats, right? But maybe them are 2 hats that don't belong together too. So. All right, going on to upcoming meeting schedule. So Wednesday night, there's a meeting. And that's on our, what is the long word of that? It's the going back to school
Safe
safely.
return to learning plan.
There we go. Safe return to learning plan. Anybody can come.
Yep, absolutely.
Is there a limit on how many board members are there?
Well, they have 2, I think 2 are invited, I think. Or is there 3?
Three.
So,
We don't have to worry about it.
okay.
Yep.
That's what I was wondering about, so. All right, and then we got our monthly meeting for Monday, August 24th.
It's actually the 23rd. That's the typo.
All right, Monday, August 23rd. Is there any other meetings?
Do we want to look to schedule a work session?
Yes, I think we should
Yeah.
schedule a work session. Yeah, that works for me. The 16th work for everybody? Week in advance,
Mhm.
the week before the regular meeting?
I will be gone that week.
Oh,
Oh. Okay,
I could zoom in.
yeah,
I could
You
do
could?
that. We start our Boy Scout camp that week, so it'll be,
Is that,
yeah, 15 through 20.
I was gonna look, that's what I was. So I'll be down to that.
We can zoom together.
I don't know where you're gonna zoom from.
where you gonna get, are you gonna be like in
No,
where they
Yeah,
have
so-
Wi-Fi?
my work
What they do,
yeah.
evidently has signal up there.
Or do we want to move it a week ahead of that?
I would prefer to be here in person.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know that I wanna zoom from.
So the 9th.
Boy Scout.
The 9th, is that what today is, the 9th?
I could do the 9th.
Right, 9th, all right, August 9th. What time?
The same time, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. work for
Stay
everybody?
consistent.
All right. So work session scheduled for August 9th. Regular meeting scheduled for August 24th, 23rd. I crossed it out even. Good grief. Anything else? All right. If nothing else, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I just had a question about the committee meeting on Wednesday. So I haven't found any information who to call or to contact to actually join the committee. I know we had talked about that in the last one, so I didn't know if you just come and can join it or.
Yeah,
just
Just
Okay.
come, just come.
Where is it at?
Bring a friend,
Cafeteria. Yeah, bring it.
bring a friend.
What?
Bring a friend,
Sure.
okay, so,
Sounds good.
Maybe I should just add, we'll be discussing the ESSER $3. That meeting will take place probably that second week of August, so it might be that same week of the work session for the board meeting. We're putting together some idea, we have to make sure we understand what we can and can't use it for, and then we'll pull the community together for input, so that meeting will be coming too. We have to do that because that plan has to be submitted by October 1st. So, and September when school starts.
that'll be a community meeting
Yep,
also.
community, for sure. We have to have community input for that, so.
Okay.
That'll be
It'll be on the
in
website.
August. Yep, we'll get it out on the website. We'll get it-
Watch the website, we'll try to put it on that scrolling, so when you bring it up, it's on there. We're always looking for community input at anything, especially when we open these meetings up for the community. That's the time that we need to hear stuff, so,
And that too will be in the cafeteria. so
Yeah.
we'll have plenty of space.
all right. So I have a motion to adjourn by Director Hofstad. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Director Hofstad and seconded by Director Lang to adjourn the meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All who oppose? All who abstain? Motion passes 6-0-0, meeting adjourned at 6:59.